Okay. We will try to keep it spicy and fun, just like Jocelyn here. We have a tradition at LinkedIn, and anytime someone needs to introduce themselves, we ask them to do one of two things, or two of two. One you know about, one will be a surprise for you. But the first one is, tell us something that is not on your LinkedIn profile.
All right. So aside from my, I guess my double duty as a youth hockey chauffeur or aspiring Lego master, and my 6-year-old kicks my butt every time in that, I think it's a little bit like how I got into to media, perhaps, which is like I was had a very strong passion for journalism and wanted to be like a sports journalist. And as I was going through college, one realized that there were a lot of other people around me that were better writers, and I did not have the hair for TV journalism. And so always being passionate about media and how media is produced, ended up kind of falling into the path of advertising, and then got into like the fascination of how ads actually showed up in places, and here I am many years later, still doing media.
No hair for journalism equals an amazing media partner. That's awesome. Okay, and the second one you don't have to do unless you want to share with us a special talent of yours.
A special talent of mine. That one I don't know. I can't juggle. I am a terrible singer. Maybe happy hour karaoke or something, or a late night karaoke would be a different story. But I don't know.
Might turn this session into midday karaoke
there you
right
go.
after this. Love chatting with you about your career, and I think you spent your entire career after that attempt at journalism on the agency side. Help us understand why you decided to move over to what you call the dark side, the client side of the business. And I'm sure part of the story is you did such a killer job on agency side with InTuit that they poached you, but we want to hear the full story.
Absolutely. No, I love working in agencies and spent my entire career working in agencies, and have a lot of respect and a lot of admiration for the work that agencies do. But like with anyone, it's time to reinvigorate, remotivate, and when the opportunity arose to join InTuit, and obviously it's a company that I was very familiar with because they were my client for a number of years. It was for me a moment and an opportunity to take a risk and do something that I hadn't done before, to push me a little bit outside of my comfort zone. And yes, it's still media, and I think a lot of the fundamentals of that job is the same, but it was for me just more of a personal growth and personal development opportunity to have a different experience.
Love that. And I think it's always healthy to be a little uncomfortable. Hopefully all of you are a little uncomfortable in your roles today. Tell us why InTuit. I think we've talked a lot about the company and what the company is doing, but would love for this audience to get to know InTuit a little bit more. It's not always the sexiest brand, but I think doing really amazing things in the world. Yeah,
we have some amazing products, and I think for me is I learned and got exposure to InTuit firsthand because they were my client for 4 years, and I think I personally became just very motivated, very appreciative for the mission of the company, and InTuit's mission is to power prosperity around the world, and we do that in a number of ways, and that shows up in the products that we have, whether that's to help consumers become more prosperous by getting more from their tax returns through our TurboTax product, or by enabling small businesses to run their business through QuickBooks or grow their business through Mailchimp, and certainly also on the consumer side, enabling consumers to manage their money and to get access to loans and other financial services through Credit Karma. So the mission in terms of how that shows up in our cornerstone brands, and then what InTuit does for employees and for our communities. We have such a tremendous give back program across in a number of communities. We've built prosperity hubs in in underserved communities around the country. So it's an amazing company. It's why we're always ranked as one of the top companies to work for, and that mission and just the fantastic products we have was a huge draw for me.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, how many people in this room think that there are few things as important as powering prosperity of the world? At LinkedIn, I've been at LinkedIn for 12 years. We talked about this. Our vision is to create economic opportunity for the global workforce. And again, there's companies that are doing these really big things in the world, and a lot of that is powered by the work that we do on the media side. I know it's a stretch sometimes. Advertising changes the world, but it really does, because the work that you and your team are doing are really helping fund a lot of these initiatives. I'd love to have this audience get to know some of the work that you've done in the last 9 months a little bit more. What are some of the big initiatives you and your team have been working on?
Yeah, so I think just a little bit of backstory is Mailchimp was acquired by InTuit almost 1 year ago, just a little bit past 1 year ago to the date. So we've been on a pretty, pretty big roller coaster ride for the better part of that time. As part of that, we've taken to kind of reestablishing a lot of our media fundamentals to help drive performance. But we've been on this amazing journey from a brand standpoint, and we recently just launched a brand campaign where we were able to really lean into the power and to the benefit of our products and the unique value we bring to small businesses to help power and grow their respective businesses. And because that's what we're in the business of doing, we're marketing to marketers, we're helping small businesses grow their businesses. So we've and Mailchimp has always been this kind of like very quirky and creative brand, and that very much is in our DNA as a company and our company culture and all of that. But we've been able to do some really fun things to help launch our brand through the world, through the world of podcasts, through a lot of branded content. We've completely rebuilt our website. So there's been so much momentum within our organization to help drive growth over the last 9 months or so.
Okay, that sounds awesome. But tell us, do you have a metrics matrix as well?
No, I'm really jealous though, because I definitely want a metrics matrix though. But one of the things that Jocelyn did kind of talk about though is, and I think it was prompted by Anne's question, is just of getting the organization, and particularly the marketing teams and the media teams rallied around the CFO metrics, and we've actually spent a lot of time doing that within our organization over the last couple of months, because those, not to say that all metrics don't matter, but those are the ones that really matter, and understanding sort of how media contributes to those and the roles that not only from an aggregate standpoint, but even down to our media partners and the contribution that they bring to the business. And one of the things that I've have shared with my team, and we talk a lot about, is that when you're responsible for paid media, you're arguably responsible for the largest expense envelope that the company has. And so with that, comes a tremendous amount of responsibility, scrutiny, a lot of it unwanted. Sometimes it's justified, but a lot of it, unwanted. And so you find yourself, really having the tough conversations. And it does put a lot of emphasis and a lot of prioritization on, the choices that we make and where we choose to invest our money, the channels, the partners, the countries. We're managing a global business, so there's a lot that goes into that, and ensuring that you've got the right metrics, or at least the most valuable metrics in place. And I think that much like what Jocelyn said, that's evolving. I don't think we're on a journey. We've definitely not come close to cracking it yet, but we're making good progress.
I went to a conference where when someone said we are on a journey, we had to take a shot. Anyone with a drink is welcome to do that. You said a couple things that I want to dig into. One around, you're working through how to have this conversation with the CFO, their executives around, here's how you should be thinking of media and why we're making these investments. For the partners in the room, how do we help you? how do we help you build this case and evolve the conversation that you're having internally such that that scrutiny is more, wow, Daniel is making the right decisions for the business and we are helping to grow?
Yeah, I mean, I would say one of our attributes and just qualities as a company, I think we're pretty transparent, and so we do share with partners and with our agencies and anybody that we work with, very clearly what we're trying to solve for and what we're trying to accomplish and the metrics that do matter. And sometimes, the performance doesn't always make sense, right? There might be a reason, that your acquisition cost on LinkedIn is higher or lower than somebody else's, and but that's where we need the help, is to help us understand, and help you understand what we're trying to accomplish. And then nobody knows your product and your capabilities better than you do. And so I feel like if you have the transparency for what we're trying to accomplish, you can help us figure out what the levers are that we need to pull in order to have success with in our partnership.
I love that. I'm also looking at our LinkedIn rep for InTuit, making sure that he brings all of this insight to you and your team. You also touched on this global piece, and I'd love to understand how you've been scaling the media business globally. And then a second to that is, are you seeing differences around the world in how that has been successful, where you're seeing challenges?
Yeah, so it's the global piece is definitely an interesting and unique, dynamic in our business. And, half of our business comes from outside the U.S. So Mailchimp has customers, I think, in 180 plus, countries. So it's a really unique opportunity. So I think part of it is we certainly look at, we look at the small business landscape in a variety of countries. We look at our capabilities. We look at the opportunity to grow in those markets, and then we'll allocate budgets and build plans accordingly. And I would say is that we have a series of what I'll just call tried and true things that work for us, right? And we try to replicate and scale those in as many countries as we can. But sometimes the performance is not always the same. And so that's like I said, sometimes it makes sense and there's a very clear reason why. Other times the CPM may be lower for one partner in country A and it's higher in country B, but country B is still performing better. And so that's where we have to really dig into our metrics matrix to try to figure out why that may or may not be happening. Yeah. Yes, that is going to be the new drink word.
We'll make sure to give you that trademark. But I think so. In that, how do you think about experimentation with your team? You're trying a lot of new things. I know Jocelyn and team talked about, we're all on this journey together. We're encountering a new time, and so certainly when your tried and true playbook doesn't work, you have to test out new things. How do you do that with your team, and then how do you encourage your partners to come and help you experiment?
Yeah, I would say we have a lot of tests, and part of that is a testament to, I think, the passion and the creativity and the curiosity of our team and our agency teams for just constantly thinking about our business and coming up with different ideas or things that make them curious. And that's one of the things that we like to say a lot is what makes you curious? What do you want to learn? And we make sure that it's impossible to run every single test, but try to really vet what those ideas are and make sure the ones that I think have the highest opportunity and the highest opportunity for impact are the ones that we end up going to market with. And I would encourage any of our partners to kind of think the same way. Is that what are we doing with you today? What is it that we're not doing? And what is a framework for how we can test that? Now, I will say, a test does not mean give me lots of money and let's go see if this works. And like one of the principles that we have around testing is that it is exactly that. They should be small, they should be agile, they should be nimble, something that we can, go into market with, hopefully get a quick read and get back out. And if it works, then certainly scale and further invest, behind that. And that's what enables us. I think that type of thinking and philosophy enables us to, do many of those at scale. And look, so a lot of them don't work, and that's fine. Like we're okay with tests not working. If everything did, if everything worked, we'd probably have even greater challenges.
Yeah, I think important for the partners here, right? As you bring different opportunities in, aligning on potential metrics, what's going to work, and it's okay if it doesn't, but bringing you different ideas and staying curious in the moment. I'm going to switch gears slightly and talk about the wonderful macro environment that we're living in today. Would love to get a sense of how or if your strategy has changed over the last 9 months as we enter more challenging times.
Yeah, the times are certainly challenging. We're managing it the way that I think any business is managing it. I would say we're very optimistic about our position to be able to manage it accordingly. And I think one of the amazing things about InTuit and our products and the customers that we serve is that we have a very durable business. And when you think about it, when things do get tough, and particularly for small business, and certainly that's where my focus is, the two biggest problems that small businesses have is, how do they grow more customers or get more customers, and how do they manage their cash flow? And Intuit is very well positioned to deliver on both of those through Mailchimp and QuickBooks. And so I think, yes, there are the obvious macro headwinds, but when things do get tough, small businesses need us and our products more than ever. And so we are, I would say very conscious of the environment, but also moving forward with trying to serve our customers and grow.
It's a wonderful place to be when you can serve customers in this environment and you become like essential to their business health. Given your exposure to lots of different customers and navigating challenging times, anything that you think, any advice that you would give other marketers and folks in the room about how do you navigate times like these, and how do you think about balancing short-term pressures, driving revenue, driving whatever KPIs it is, with the longer-term strategy?
Yeah, no, and that's a very relevant question. I think for us is that we are focusing very much on shoring up our fundamentals, ensuring that we've got all of our best practices in place, that we are looking for all the right opportunities to, lower acquisition costs, find higher value, customers. That's a big part of what we're trying to do, but we have to do that in a way where we're not totally ignoring our brand. Brand absolutely matters. It's what I think differentiates Mailchimp from a lot of our competitors. And so trying to find the right opportunities to have our brand show up in very fun and creative ways.
Really like the new campaign. I think it's very fun and creative. Any advice that you would give to partners in the room who want to do more work with you, who want to show up in the way that you think partners should show up in this time?
Yeah, I mean, and I'll take a little bit from what I think Jocelyn said too, understand our business and understand what we're trying to accomplish, the customers that we're trying to serve, and start from there to think about what your solutions might be. I would also, I think, just add that we get a lot of outreach, a lot of partners.
Really?
And I'm sorry if someone's tried to contact me before too, but I think one of the great things and great tools that our business has and industry has is LinkedIn, but also, industry organizations like brand innovators, and certainly like use that network. I mean, I think you think about if you're trying to buy something for yourself, if you're hiring a general contractor or buying a car, like maybe you take recommendations. So I think using the power of the network for introductions and for relationships to help make inroads is always a positive thing too.
I think you invited the entire Brand Innovators community to hit you up at the next event. Has there been anything stand out that a partner has done with you in this capacity or on agency side that others could take you from?
Yeah, I mean, I think that our closest and our top partners are the ones that have taken the time to really become ingrained and understand that not only the fundamentals of our business but the drivers of our business, and they're willing to I think offer resources, services that really even go beyond just kind of the transactional media components. And I think any brand side marketing organizations are most are quite large, but most can kind of benefit from the various tools, research, the insights, and services that many partners have, whether that's just through desk research, through creative resources, through other landscape oriented pieces of research. But I think those are where it's like where you're able to kind of service not just the media team but also the organization as a whole. That's where those are the partnerships that kind of stand out.
I'm hearing a lot of understand my business, do the homework, come to me with a point of view. There are a lot of people that hit you up and your team up, and so in order to stand out, it is how much you know your customer's business and what they're going through and having a point of view there. Anything you want to share with the group before we open it up to questions that you weren't able to share? A lot of a special talent that you want to demonstrate?
No other special talents. No, I think this, we have a tremendous brand at Mailchimp. We are super optimistic and focused on growth and the small business community that we serve. And I think particularly for our any brand side partners, am eager to learn, to collaborate, to share knowledge, and for our media and tech partners interested to understand how you can also help serve small businesses, and we can collaborate together.
Awesome. Thank you. Anyone have questions? Thoughts?
Yeah. I'll just bump it up.
No, please.
Oh, no, you cannot do that.
I wasn't sure if you were getting a drink or not, so. Sorry, just kidding. Great session. Diana, great job moderating, and Daniel, a lot of great answers, transparency. So in terms of, and by the way, this is Ken from Mobile Fuse. So for all your partners that you've tested, that's awesome. It's awesome to hear for a lot of vendors that are out here. Like, can you go through a specific one where you're like, oh, this was a great test. Now they learned our business, but like, what did they do, besides just learning the business? Was there things that surprised you that for good? And if you want to also share a bad example as well, that'd be great.
We love the bad examples, what not to do.
I mean, I'll share a little bit about just some of the work that we're actually doing with LinkedIn, and I promise this question was not a plant, but we talked about the global dynamic of our business, and I think the bulk of our work with LinkedIn really kind of started out like U.S. based, and I think that's normal. I mean, that's it certainly is our biggest market, but some success that we found with particular ad units and how they were driving acquisition performance for us. We we've since taken that learning and are in the process of scaling it, to many of our other markets. And I think, again, it goes back to sort of the transparency that probably we had with the LinkedIn team to kind of share that, the commitment, commitment to iteration and to creative partnership to be able to build, creative that is certainly unique for the LinkedIn platform, but also to be able to put together, the plans and sizing the market opportunity to do that, that expansion. Examples of ones that probably have been less successful are ones that are truly just transactional. I made the reference to the, hey, we need a big budget to go and test that. And, I think we probably have maybe made some mistakes and done things like that in the past. But if something's being positioned as a test, like let's, hold hands and, make it a true test, and we'll be transparent with the results. And if it works, then make a commitment to to scale in the best way we possibly can. Yeah.
This was not a plan for LinkedIn, but I think for all of the partners, you sit on assets, you sit on really interesting information, and so when you come and marry the information that you learned about your customer with what you can uniquely offer, I think that's where some really great ideas come out of it. And for us, we know that a lot of they need to do acquisition outside of the U.S., and we know a lot of our customers are growing faster outside of the U.S., and that's where we were able to use our insights and say, listen, we have this playbook, let's do something unique for you. And again, with the partners in the room, I think everybody has that unique set of assets that they sit on, or insights that can work out really well.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, guys. Unless you have some. Oh, one more? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
hold the music, Babs.
No, it's all right. We've made up time in the air, so we have a little.
I love making up time in the air.
So this is a multi-part question, and it's one, as the Senior Director of Global Paid Media, how involved are you in evaluating your DSP partners, and what does that look like? And then within that, how involved are you with the SSP and your supply through those DSPs? And what goes into your evaluation when you're thinking about the supply that comes through your programmatic channels?
Great question. So we're on a journey, no, that's another shot. But no, we're on that journey right now, and I think that we have a tremendous team, not only within Mailchimp, but also with our agency partners that are working through that. So yes, I'm involved, working very closely with my team, with our agency teams to understand what how the landscape is changing and whether or not we have the right DSP setup or the right DSP partners in place. And I'd say the same thing goes for the supply side, and I think that's a little bit more it's a little bit less straightforward because there are so many SSPs that feed multiple DSPs. But for us, I think what ultimately comes down to is being able to evaluate our media not just at the DSP level, but really being able to understand what the looking at the inventory itself and the provider of that inventory, and really understanding the inventory flow. And ultimately, it's I think the classic examples that I can buy ESPN.com, probably 800 different ways, arguably at very different pricing, and ultimately the performance might be different, and that is an added level of granularity that that we're on a journey to kind of get to in our analytics to be able to then source inventory more directly, but also understanding what is providing the best value and benefit to our business, either in the form of lowest acquisition cost, brand safety, a number of factors go into that.
No, there's no point in making time up in the air when your gate isn't ready. So we're going to hand it back. We got cut off over there.
No. All right. Sorry.